My name is Alison Everett and I'm a Defence Industry Facilitator, but I'm based out of Canberra. So before we start this morning, and you've been sitting here so quietly and so carefully, can I just get an idea of whether you are from a small to medium enterprise, new to defence? Right. Now, those people who haven't put their hands up, could you put your hand up if you are from an industry organisation that has already done work with defence? And then I'm assuming that the ones that don't have their hands up are from industry associations. If you would like to just stand, or industry associations or government, could you also just put your hands up? So I'm just trying to work out where to pitch this particular speech, because what I'm going to talk to you about is the Integrated Investment Program. Now, it's pretty heavy going, and so I will apologise now to those people who are very well versed in defence that this might be a bit simplistic for you, and I apologise to those people who are new to defence because it could be pretty heavy going for it. But this information is available to you and we'll take it through pretty slowly. Why are we going through the Integrated Investment Program? The Integrated Investment Program is where defence can find out, where industry can find out where defence is going to be spending their money. Okay, it was developed through a comprehensive force structure review that assessed Australia's defence capability needs to meet the challenges of the future operation environment from now up until 2030. It focused mostly on the first decade of the investment and allocates approximately $195 billion in that decade up to the financial year 2025-26. It then provides a broad guidance on the second decade up to financial year 35-36. Now, the way it's set out is it basically gives you an idea of what platforms we currently have, what platforms we have already begun our procurement of, but more importantly, and probably one that you want to be aware of, is all the platforms that we are likely to buy in the next 10 to 20 years. So it gives you a really good idea of how to pre-position yourself for upcoming defence projects, whether you are a prime company or even down into the Tier 2, Tier 3, down to Tier 7 companies. What is defence going to be doing over the next 20 years? And there's not too many industries out there where your customer will actually publish that for you. So this is the Integrated Investment Program is where you'll find this information. Now, you should note that some of the procurements in this particular package will have a really long sustainment period, such as the submarines. So be aware of that opportunity is quite long term. So what is defence investing in? The Integrated Investment Program outlines 6 capability streams that link the strategy to the capability, representing key force elements and how they are typically deployed and their planned enhancements. So you would have seen, if you had been involved with the defence for very long, you would have known that the capability plan previously used to divide all our projects up into land, air, the sea, or joint. This one actually looks at how they are deployed, what is the strategy behind it, and that's how they've broken up these capabilities. And for the first time, the key enablers of capability have now been recognised for their essential contribution to the generation and sustainment of ADF capability. And so let's have a look at some of these capabilities streams in particular and some of the major projects that are involved. So the intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, electronic warfare, that's way too long for a defence world, so we call that ISREW, and space and cyber. Some of the key acquisitions in this capability stream include the development of systems, sensors and networks that deliver air and space situational awareness around Australia and in deployed locations. There are new sophisticated command, control, communications, computer and intelligence systems. Now we call that C4I. There's an increased functionality of common operating pictures and tactical data links. And another one is strengthening the ability to perform near real-time production, exploitation and dissemination of data. So all those sort of things fall within this particular capability stream. And an example of some of the things that we are procuring through this stream is the procurement of 7 Tritons, high-altitude, long-endurance surveillance unmanned aerial systems, and of course the enhanced Jindalee operation radar networks fall within this radar. Oh, so we have those there. The next stream is probably one that is of no doubt of interest to people in this room, and it is the maritime and anti-submarine warfare. The Naval Shipbuilding Plan was released 12 months ago this week. It lays the foundation for an Australian-wide naval shipbuilding enterprise, which ends the boom and bust cycle that has been common experience for the naval shipbuilding and sustainment industry within Australia. Around $90 billion will be spent investing in naval ships and submarines. So what are some of these programs? Of course, we have the C1000 program, which is the Future Submarine project, which is worth around about $50 billion, and it's a rolling acquisition of submarines from around about financial year 22-23. And that's 12 new submarines replacing the 6 current Collins-class submarines to be constructed in Adelaide Osborne Naval Shipyard and likely to enter service in early 2030s. And they're currently in that 8-year design phase, the capability life cycle. In April 2016, the government announced that the Naval Group is the preferred international partner for that design project, and in September 2017, Lockheed Martin was announced as the preferred tenderer for the combat systems integration. Now, whilst Jim was explaining to you that there is still a period of time before that submarine comes into effect, and as such we also need to be aware that there is still an upgrade and a sustainment program involved with the Collins class submarine, and there's still opportunities there for industry as well. C1180 is the offshore patrol vessel project. It's worth around about $3 to $4 billion, called C11. And the 12 offshore patrol vessels will replace the existing Armidale-class Armidale-class patrol boats, and will be capable of undertaking several different roles, including enhanced border protection and patrol missions. Now, in November 2017, the government announced the German company Lürssen as a successful tenderer for that project. Now, construction of that, the first 2 OPVs has commenced at Osborne Naval Shipyard this year, and production will transfer to the Henderson Maritime Precinct in Western Australia from 2020, when construction of the future frigates begins here in Adelaide. The future frigates, of course, is C5000, and the future frigate program will replace Australia's existing fleet of 8 Anzac-class frigates with a new fleet of 9 anti-submarine and anti-submarine warfare frigates. The program is estimated to be worth around about $35 billion. The first future frigate is expected to be introduced into service in the late 2020s, and 3 designers have been shortlisted to refine their designs and participate in the next stage of the competitive evaluation program. Now, this evaluation program is investigating opportunities for Australian suppliers to enter the supply chain over the course of a very long-term build program in both the build and in the sustainment phases of that program. The shortlisted contenders are BAE Systems with their Type 26 frigate, Fincantieri with the FREM frigate, and Navantia with a redesigned F100 class vessel. Gate 2 approval is expected this year, as the Minister said, to allow for construction to commence here in Adelaide in 2020. Now, other platforms included in this stream include the P8A Poseidon Maritime Surveillance and Response aircraft. Now, currently the ADF sustains 8 of these aircraft, but we'll be increasing this fleet to around 15 with an initial purchase of 4 and then a subsequent purchase of 3 in late 2020s. I won't spend quite so much time on all the other different ones, but that one I thought might be of interest to people in this state. So the next one is the air and sea lift. Approximately 6% of the integrated investment program will be used to enhance Australia's air and sea lift capabilities. This capability stream enables the ADF to resupply, sustain missions in deployed locations and to move around the area of operations in a timely and reliable way. Currently, we sustain or have acquisition approvals in this capability streams for transport aircraft, the C-17A Globemaster, the 12 C-130J Hercules and 10 C-27J Spartans. We also have air-to-air refuelling aircraft. We have Chinooks, 7 Chinooks and 47 MRH-90 helicopters, and also falling within this stream is HMAS Tools, which is the logistics support ships. Some of the acquisitions in this stream will include additional air-to-air refuelers, 3 additional Chinook helicopters, 2 replenishment ships, and another 2 ships for either replenishment or logistic support, and the upgrade to the HMAS Tools. Another topical capability stream at the moment, of course, is the land combat and amphibious warfare capability stream. Out of this stream, of course, is the Land 400 program, which will acquire and support the next generation of armoured fighting vehicles with the firepower, protection and mobility to defeat an increasingly lethal and adaptive adversary well into the future. The project will deliver enhanced levels of survivability to the joint land force, including sensors and weapons and information systems which will be networked to strategic intelligent platforms. Phase 2, the combat reconnaissance vehicle, will replace the ASLAV, and we've recently had an announcement that Rheinmetall and their Boxer CRV were the successful tenderers for that particular project. Phase 3, which is to replace the armoured personnel carrier fleet with the new infantry fighting vehicle, will be commencing production around 2024. Will be entering service around 2024 with approvals due early next year. Now, some other projects in this stream include the riverine patrol capability, the armed unmanned aircraft systems, and the deployable network, land networks, which will enable the land forces to communicate across the battlefield, within and between formations on the ground, with aircraft and ships, with headquarters and other agencies or partners. Are you all still awake? Right, good. Okay, so the next capability stream is the strike and air combat stream. Now, currently in this stream, Defence maintains fighter and strike aircraft such as the FA-18F Super Hornets and the FA-18 Classic Hornets, which are being retired. We have the EA-18G Growlers, which are the electronic attack aircraft. We have E-7A Wedgetails, which is the early warning and control aircraft, and of course our air defence systems fall in this space as well. Of course, we are currently procuring the F-35A, which is the Lightning II Joint Strike Fighters. But the IIP also puts out, states that Defence's intention to enhance capabilities in this stream through new air-to-air, air-to-surface and high-speed and long-range strike and anti-ship weapons, upgrades to the Growler aircraft, replacements of the Super Hornets, better integration of air and space surveillance systems, and enhanced fixed and deployable air search radars. The final capability stream, and probably the new kid on the block, is the key enablers. The key enablers include things like wharves, airfields, training bases, ICT, supporting sciences, technology, and of course workforce. For the first time, key enabler priorities are all accorded appropriate priority in defence capability investment decisions. They are being assessed and considered along with other investment decisions as an integrated whole, which decreases the risk of incomplete or fragmented approaches to the acquisition of new platforms. Now, some of the key priorities in this investment area including the continuous development, monitoring and maintaining of critical infrastructures, such as the airfields and wharves, upgrading training and weapons ranges, testing facilities and health services, enhancing defence ICT systems across everyday as well as combat situations, and strengthening force design and strategic and international policy development and international engagement. For South Australia, some of the activities to note in this space is that in April 2016, the government announced that the Osborne Naval Shipyard in South Australia would host the major surface combatant and submarine continuous build programs, and also that the Henderson Maritime Precinct in WA would host those minor naval vessel continuous build program. Now, to enable this shipbuilding program, $535 million will be invested in the development of the Osborne South Surface Ship Construction Facility, which is part of $1 billion worth of investment in modern shipyard infrastructure that will occur across Australia. And to support the introduction of the new P-8s, Poseidons and the Joint Strike Fighter, new and upgraded facilities and infrastructures will be established at national airfields, including those at RAF Base Edinburgh. So the Integrated Investment Program can be found on the Defence webpage now, along with the Defence White Paper and the Defence Industry Policy Statement. The easiest way to find these documents is just to Google Defence White Paper and they'll all come up. No matter where you are, where your company falls within the supply chain or the capability streams, the Integrated Investment Program can be used to understand where Defence will be investing over the next 2 decades. This is a living document and will be updated periodically, and is worth a read if you are interested in entering into the defence market to understand where to pre-position yourself for oncoming investment from defence.